I've started recording this meeting. This is the October 8th edition of the Stabilization Brigade, or 7th, somewhere in there. This meeting is recorded, so please remember that in all our conversations and if you share anything. Please, thank you, Scott, as Scott has done in the chat, if you could register your attendance. This meeting we do notes kind of through the chat window, so you'll see things at here for registering your attendance. It's been a while since we'll also do add topics to change the topic of the meeting, and if you haven't something you want to put in the notes, just put an at item and then the what you like for the notes, and it will be recorded for the notes as well. And those notes, as well as video, will be posted online, hopefully later today. Okay, with that, the agenda should be shared, and you should be able to see that. I've got essentially 4 things on the agenda today. Is there anything else you'd like to add to the agenda before we go? All right. Jump into repositories and releases. Scott, over the past week or so, has been diligently adding or removing things from the Volt2Go repository and putting them in separate repositories, which is something that's good. So there's been some significant code reorganization around that, like pulling the adapters, OpenOLT adapters, and I think the simulated adapters as well out of the Volt2Go repo, as well as the API server. Additionally, Scott again, yesterday, and still has some patch sets open on that to cut a release of these different repositories. So we have essentially a tagged release for the containers that we can put on the Helm charts, as well as just start using for development, as well as for really just playing around with it. But have a cut release on that. So first, thanks Scott for that work, and second, is there anybody have any questions about that? We do have patch sets open that need to be reviewed around releases, and in general, patch sets are taking a long time to get reviews, and authors of the patch sets have had to kind of beg and barter to get their patch sets reviewed. So first question about repositories and releases.
So one thing I did want to point out, in case people aren't aware, if you get a tag collision error, that's because we're in the state where we have merged a release patch, but we have not yet merged the patch that goes back to dev versioning. So we have in our Jenkins jobs a requirement that releases are immutable. So if anyone tries to check in a patch while the version file is currently at a release tag, you'll get that error, and that's just a matter of waiting for the patch that comes in to bring that particular repo back to dev status, and hopefully we will be quicker in getting those done to bring those back to dev status. We're just sort of working through the initial getting used to this process now, and getting all the appropriate reviewers and such to get this done quickly. I just wanted to point that out in case people see those particular errors.
And again, thanks, Scott. And again, on that note, please, people, take some time, go to Garrett, look at things that need reviewed. Even if you're not listed as a reviewer, that does not mean you can't review it. So please do. And I know Scott and other people have also posted on the Slack channel looking for reviews. When you see those requests, please honor them and take some time out. As part of the development process, a significant amount of your time will likely need to be spent doing reviews. There's just no way around that. Otherwise, we're going to continually have this kind of backup of things that need to be reviewed. And I will actually, as we get to the number 3, you'll see some of the outstanding patch sets that still need to be reviewed. Any other comments on new repositories or the releases? All right. Dep to mod. As you know, we've been in the process of switching from Go or Dep for Go dependencies to Go mod for dependency management. There are JIRAs open for those repositories that aren't using Go mod yet. We had some issues early on with Go mod around files that are not Go and how to bring them in. Most of that has been resolved, as well as some other issues. What I'll say here. It'd be nice to get those other repositories to mod, so please take some time. And again, if you have some cycles, those are some of the JIRAs that you can look at and take on. Questions about that conversion, people having issues with it, or has that been going okay? Okay. All right. Outstanding patch sets. All right. Let me swap shares here. So got a question about patch or about a tag collision. So let me just address that right now. Right now, yeah. The question was on the chat. For entries blocked in tag collision, do we just have to wait? Yes, that is the issue. You will just have to wait. There are patch sets that have been submitted to change those tags. Those are needed reviews and merged. And once those are merged, then the additional patch sets can go on top of those. All right. Jumping back to patch sets. Let me see if I can get the right window, and I'll probably have to share it because I suspect you cannot see my screen right now. So let's go to share. I think it's this one. Can you see my terminal? Is that a yes?
Yes, but it's very, very small.
Yeah, okay. Hopefully that's a little better. So let's run the reports, see what's going on, fetch everything from Garrett that we need to. All right, so first on the report list is the first table here. This one. I'm going to go back small, sorry. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things that aren't in both branches, which typically means they need cherry picked, except in this case where they're all release commits, and release commits don't need to be cherry picked, so that's actually good news. Go away.
David, is there a way for us to mark those so that they won't be picked up by your filter that picks them up and thinks they're violations?
Absolutely, and I will add those to the extensions later today, and then those won't show up, and that'll be fine. So the other, so let me go back here. No patch sets cherry pick. We have interesting. The branches, this middle table here, basically says where the branches are different between main and Volta 2.1. They're not identical, which can be okay, but looking at the things that aren't identical, and these are lines added, deleted, I'm not sure that's the case. So for instance, a Volta open adapter, there's a difference between them with 7 lines added in the Git review, which one line in the Git review might make sense because that would be the branch. Multiple lines like that may not make sense, so it may mean there's a Git review file in one and not in the other. So that's something that needs to be looked at as we go forward. And then, of course, the ONU adapter has requirements different, which needs to be looked at. So that's
that one is really the difference in one PyVolta in one version and then another one for 2.1.
Yeah. Okay, so that's reasonable. So the only one I'm really concerned about when I look at here is the Git review here, where there's 7 different, and it just may mean that, again, one branch is a Git review and one doesn't. Because we're in the mode right now where the branches really aren't different, cherry picking across changes terribly important. So that might be something to look at too. This bottom table is branches. Cool. The bottom table are patch sets that have been verified, but have not been merged. So as we talked about earlier with some of these version things, you can see Scott's ones right up here to add the dev version. Those need to be reviewed and merged in. So please take the time and review those this morning, if not during the meeting. I will not be offended if you're doing background work. In fact, I kind of expect everybody to do that. We have other.
There might be some missing from that list. There's a handful, maybe 3 PyVolta ones that are verified that aren't showing up in here.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, there's
we can
also
sort them out.
Yeah, the new repos, Volta API server and the SimOLT repos, I think are missing the new one.
Actually, that's true for everything. Need to add new repos to daily mag report tables. Daily mag report tables. And we're missing some other things. And then table ready to merge. Issues. These issues are only listed in this table if they've been verified by Garrett, so that might be one of the issues. Matt, if you could point me at one of the issues, if you haven't already, that would be great, just so that I can look at it and see why it's not listed. But again, this highlights things that, look, we have patch sets that are important, that need to be reviewed, and they're kind of just sitting there. So please take the time and review patches. Any other comments? All right. We are going back to Chrome share then. And moving on then. Dashboard review. I'll just read our questions. I see some back and forth in the chat, which is fine. Any issues that have been part of that conversation that need to be brought out in the meeting?
No, there's just a clarification of how the version files work, and when you release a version, what to do after. I pasted a few examples.
Okay. And have you add items to some of that, just so people, I know you add item to reference, I saw. I think that should be fine.
I did the first one, and the other ones were clarification.
All right, cool. Thank you. All right, dashboard review. Before I jump to the dashboard itself, let me just do a quick overview of the status. There's 108 open issues when I took this yesterday that are labeled stabilization. So we got a lot of work to do there. In terms of test coverage, what I could glean from Jenkins, these are the only projects that I could see test coverage reports from. And Zach, I don't know if I should be seeing it from others or what, but these are the only ones I saw. I'll ask that question, Zach. Should others have coverage as well?
All of the, if you're running the make based test, it will pick up if you write out a what is it, the coverage XML file,
Yeah.
or the results.xml file, and it may be that some of these tests are not including that or doing that conversion correctly. I can look at that. I can take that on as an action item.
Okay.
It may be that we just need to do conversion. It also may be that just the tests don't exist and it isn't set up that way. But I can take that on.
Okay.
The two SimOLT repos, I think I put like a token example unit test in each one of them that I expected would be run and reported. So we could look into that and see why those didn't show up.
Okay. Thanks for looking into that. But and that's great. We'll report that information when we have it. But again, when we look at what we do have, right? We've got the Volt2Go repo. 21% of the lines are covered. API 30%. OpenOLT adapter 44% of the lines covered. And even at methods, we're under 55% for all those. So that means we are still way below what I'd call industry expectation standards in terms of unit tests for our code base. And that's not even broaching the issue of integration test and system tests, which I know QA is working on itself, some of the testing brigade. So again, when you commit, and I'm just as guilty of this as everyone else, please submit at least one unit test with that. We need to get our code better tested, else we're going to see regression bugs sneak in, and that is not going to be good for anyone. All right, moving over to the Stabilization Brigade dashboard. So when you look at this, well, both these lines are going up to the right. I guess that's good, but this gap is not really shrinking. That's not so good. So we need to get on that, both in terms, just in getting some of the work done. Move this over here. Going to look at this table on the right here. Zach, is it possible to get this table without the resolved? Do you know?
Yeah, I have to make another filter for that, but I can make an item without the resolved.
Or is that what the? No, that's not what the attention one is. I guess
the
I'm
needs.
looking.
Yeah,
Okay.
the needs attention has everything that's a verify or I'll discuss.
Okay.
Tag set. Those are sort of these are ones people need triage. So if you the thought was, if somebody wants to raise something to needing somebody else to help verify it, they would add that tag.
Okay. Perfect. That's great. Thanks. So starting off on the table on the right, ignoring the ones that are resolved because, well, they don't need work. We have 1, 2, 3 things that are listed as blockers that are still to do, which means no one's taken on. So one thing we have to do is, as people take up new JIRA items, is look at this list and use the priority of those items to help select which item you take on. We don't want to just pick the low-hanging fruit all the time. Every now and then, it's fun to do something a little lighter and easier, but some of these do need some effort. If you don't feel you have the knowledge required to do it, don't be afraid to take some time to look into it and ask questions. People more than willing to help out to get it done. But we do need to get these prioritized items selected and worked on. Additionally, I'm going to make the request that don't self-assign a bug unless you're really ready to work on it, unless you're really ready to work on it. I think it's less helpful if we have people with stacks of kind of to-dos assigned to them, and they're kind of going through their own personal queue. Let's try to keep it so the ones that are assigned to you are you're either working on it or you're really, really, really soon to be working on it, as opposed to just kind of a personal backlog queue. That way, as people come on, they can actually grab the next item that is prioritized. And we really want to start driving the work of this brigade as well as other brigades based on that priority. So you can still see we have some high priority bugs down here. We have a lot of things in progress, which can mean lots of things. I know I saw one of mine in progress, which really meant I just hadn't gone back and closed it because I'd actually done the commit. So please, self-included, let's try to be a little more diligent about taking care of that. This is a public dashboard. Zach, thanks for the needs the definition in the notes. So you can go to this dashboard and look at it yourself too. It's available to anybody in the community. Just as a personal note. Going to the needs attention. Some of these I know got verified tags because the new BB-SIM is available now to be used, and we need to verify against that new BB-SIM to ensure that happens. And so if you go through and find one of these, even if you're not going to do the work, if you are free to verify it, in other words, you can go through, grab it, assign it to yourself, do the verification, add a comment, and then remove the verification if the bug is still verified. And also move it back to unassigned at that point too. But given that these need attention, let's go over them real quickly, unless there's any other questions. All right. Let's look at the blockers. Okay. Enable disable OLT does not recover controlled plane and data plane. This sounds like it is. It definitely affects version 1.7, but needs to be verified in version 2.1 is my guess. So this needs someone who can, hey Matt, guess what? It needs a real OLT. And I think you're still the only one with that. Does anybody else other than Matt and ONF have the availability of a real hardware that could verify this behavior on the 2.x tree?
We can do that, I think.
We can do that.
Okay.
Hi, David. Felipe is work for Furukawa. I'm going to test again on 2.x. Okay?
Excellent. If you could do that, self-assign to yourself, just while you do the verification, so no one else tries to
All right.
complete that verification, that would be great.
Okay.
This one is disabling OLT, doesn't disable the ONUs. Need to verify this with the BB-SIM as well as, actually, this one I thought might turn into a expected behavior type of issue. In the original in 1.x, if I disabled the OLT, the ONUs got disabled as well. I believe in 2.x that has changed by design, that if you disable the OLT, that doesn't automatically disable the ONUs. Can someone confirm that? Is that the expectation?
I thought it did disable them.
Okay.
I thought we still wanted that.
I thought it just changed the state of the ONUs to unreachable.
Yeah.
We might need to check that one again. Disable, enable in general, I think still needs looking at, both the previous ticket and this one, in terms of what do we want our expected behavior to be But yeah, this one may be more along the lines of if sending a disable to the BBSIM OLT, it may or may not take certain actions that the real OLT does. I guess, is this an OpenOLT adapter and OpenONU adapter problem, or is it a BBSIM problem?
Right, and that's very true. And as I said, I thought when we brought this up before that in terms of expected behavior, the expected behavior had changed between 1 and 2, 1x and 2x, that we don't even send a disable to the ONUs at this point. So they're essentially the enable disable state is, or admin state, if you will, is independent. So I think we do need to define expectations around enable disable for devices.
David, this is part of the discussion that we had a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
I had a document that I'm updating, and hopefully I'll get it done like today or tomorrow and send it out. And maybe we'll have a discussion on the TST on Thursday on that.
Document about device state, which will or should cover this. Cover issues about disable, enable. All right, so this one can actually wait until that document is finalized and agreed upon. All right, cool, excellent. Moving on, BBSIM fails to get correct MIB state. What we have here as verified. This actually has been verified with both new and old BBSIM. So I am going to take this off the verification label. I don't believe it is at this instance a BBSIM issue. I believe it actually is a Brigade core / API server issue. And I think someone's been working on this, working on that. All right. To preserve and verify reconciliation function in progress, we'll leave those alone. Running robot sanity test twice in a row does not succeed. Needs to be verified with the new BBSIM. Okay, a lot of these, as I know, Mateo went through and asked for verification on BBSIM. It still takes 5 minutes. All right. Any other of those issues people want to dig into points? I know some of these just need verification in BBSIM 2. And if you need information on how to start BBSIM 2, Mateo did post something on the Google list, email list, so that you can go find that. All right, that's a very quick review of the dashboard. Any questions on that? On the dashboard of JIRAs, outstanding JIRAs? Again, please tick off the JIRAs in order of priority as we go through it. All right, that is the end of my agenda. I'm all for meetings that cover the agenda and then end as opposed to continue on. Are there any other issues that people want to bring up? Mateo added a note. Mateo, just for your reference, in the minutes, it doesn't say who added the item, so the me in your in your comment might confuse people. Thanks, Dan. All right, any other items people want to bring up before we close the meeting? All right. All right. Thank you very much then for attending the meeting. I'll see you guys on Slack. And we'll continue conversation on there. Thanks. One other note real quick. Zach did create a Kind Volta channel in Slack. I'm going to put in changes to Kind Volta there so I don't pollute the Volta Discuss or the other Volta channels in Slack. So if you're interested in Kind Volta and any updates that I add to it, please subscribe to that channel or just join that channel.
So are we ready to bring Kind Volta over to Garrett?
Oh man, you're asking me to give up full power. Yeah. I have no problem with it. If we want to put it into bring it into Garrett, that's fine with me.
Yeah, I can create a ticket and see when I get around to it.
Okay.
Yeah, it seems like just for collaboration from others, it'd be helpful to have the whole review infrastructure and stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, it's just another thing to do.
All right. And that's fine. So if we can bring that in, we'll if and when that gets merged over into Garrett, we'll make the announcement on that channel as well, so people can be aware. And again, even when it's not in Garrett, if you have a suggestion for it, change for it, just go to GitHub and add an issue or submit a patch set, and I'll review it and get it put in. All right. On that note, last call for items. If not, we'll end the meeting. See everybody on the net. All right. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.